Well, hey everyone, and welcome to another live with your girl Audrey Codner from ACG Math Tutoring. So I'm hoping you guys are getting a lot out of these lives, okay? Not just to brush up on my ego and not just to kind of hang out. Like, you are actually getting a lot of this information and you're absorbing it and you are applying it. So what we're going to do for tonight, as promised, we're going to simplify radicals, all right? So as you guys are coming in, one, thanks for being here. Two, go ahead and tap it on up, all right? So if anything, I'm going to try to zoom in, but at the 1K mark, that's when I'm actually going to go and get started. So if you want to kind of get with the steps, you can get with the steps. So with simplifying radicals, it was requested by one of my viewers last night. And as promised, I deliver. All right. So, hey, thank you for liking and sharing the live, coming in to join in. Hey, Robert. Hey, Hum. Hey, is that Lisa or Lise? Okay, welcome on in, everyone. Go ahead and do a little tap. Don't hold your taps in your love and attention. You can't take it with you, so might as well just tap it on up. Tap it on in. It's going. It's been a very busy day today. Had a couple of sessions, and then we had our session with my course and a couple people buying courses, and just getting things together. Good evening. Still watching? Awesome. Awesome. So welcome on in, everyone. We're going to go into simplifying radicals. I know for sure a lot of you guys are like, Audrey, it's the summer. Why are we doing this? Well, we're trying to get you ready for the next year. And plus, there's a lot of people that are taking summer courses that needs some extra assistance. So if math is not your thing, but yet you kind of want to learn it, this is the live for you. If you're currently taking, say, college algebra or any of those intermediate algebra courses for college level, this is the live for you. If you're thinking about doing the ASVAB or the GED, just so to get yourself situated with your next step in life, this is the live for you. All right, so we are really going to get ourselves situated. Now, the main thing when we're trying to simplify radicals, one, we are looking for what's called a perfect prime combination. Okay, we want to get that perfect prime combo. So that means one of our radicals, when we break it on down, is going to be a perfect square root. And the other one is going to be a prime number. Now, we probably need to go over what a prime number is. So the product of that prime number is between 1 and itself. That's the only way you can get it. Now, the first prime number is not 1. Stop it. I know. So the first prime number is actually 2. Because the only way that I can get a 2 through multiplication is when I multiply 1 and 2. Just like 3 is a prime number. The only way I can get a 3 is multiplying 1 and 3. All right, so prime numbers is the only way that I can get the products or the result of it through multiplication is when I multiply 1 and itself. So it's not just odd numbers. A lot of people think, oh, well, it's 3, 5, 7, and then they say 9. 9 is not a prime number. All right, 9, if I may, is called a composite number. I'm going to put this as a side note. Okay, in order for me to get a composite number, I'm going to say 9. This is when I can get 3 times 3, and I can also get 1 times 9. Okay, Whereas a prime number, it's only one in itself. So like if I wanted to say 5, the only way I can get a 5 is 1 times 5. Okay? There's no other way of me getting a 5. Yes. Yep, it will definitely do that, Robert. That fundamental theory of arithmetic, everything will go crashing down. Okay? But everyone always says, I mean, if you think about it, 1 is constantly being used, right? 1 is constantly being used. So, all right. Hey, Janice, how are you? Okay. So, let me take this away. So, keeping this in mind, we're going to be looking at the perfect prime combination. Some of you guys will probably remember it more so as, let's see if we can get the factor tree. So if I wanted to, let's say 27. This is just a side note. So I know if I wanted to break down the number 27, and we want to break it down using that prime factorization, aka the factor tree. 2 numbers multiply to give me 27. Let's say 3 and 9. 3 is a prime number. Okay, so I can't break that down. But 9 is a composite. So I can break this down. Best way will be 3 times 3. So now I have 3 times 3 times 3 will be the equivalent of 27. Okay? Now, keeping that in mind, yep, the opposite of a square root is a square, not a root. The opposite of a square root is a square. So now, keeping this in mind, that's when it's just 27. What happens if I got the square root of 27? If I wanted to give the square root of 27, that means I need to break this up into what's called a perfect prime combination. So I need to deal with my perfect square roots. So let me kind of list them over here. So my perfect square roots, we got the square root of 1, square root of 4, square root of 9, square root of 16, square root of 25, square root of 36, square root of 49, square root of 64, square root of 81, square root of 100. And there are more. Okay, there's more. The reason why they're inverses. Okay, square root of 1 will give me 1. Square root of 4 will give me 2, because 2 times 2 gives me 4. Square root of 9 will give me 3, because 3 times 3 gives me 9. Square root of 16 will give me 4, because 4 squared gives me 16. Square root of 25 will give me 5, because 5 squared gives me 25. Square root of 36 will be 6 squared, or 6, because 6 squared is 36. Okay, 7 squared, that will give me 49, so that's why the square root of 49 is 7. The square root of 64 is 8, because 8 squared gives me 64. Do we see the pattern? Okay, we need to commit this to memory, especially if you're going to be doing GED. AccuPlacer, or even just any kind of math class, because I know I got a mixture of audiences here. Okay, so we need to get all this stuff situated. Okay, so making flashcards, okay, literally 10 minutes a day. That's all. 10 minutes a day. So when we're taking a look at the square root of 27, we know that 3 and 9 will work for us, because 9, if it was a square root, is a perfect square root. So we have the square root of 9 times the square root of 3. So this is going to be your perfect. And this is going to be your prime. So this is why you have your perfect prime combo. So if I look at the square root of 9, which we said, since it's perfect, it's going to give me a whole number, which is 3. It's no longer in the radical. Radical is your square root. Remember, this root can be anything. If I put a little number, which is called the index, in front, if I can do it for a 3, a 4, or 5, or 6, but if it doesn't have anything, that means it's a square root. Okay, good. All right. That's it. So we have our square root of 9, which gives me 3. And the square root of 3, since it's prime, if I can't break it down, I bring it down. Okay, so it is going to be, as so many people are yelling it out, 3, the square root of 3. So when you're breaking down these radicals, you really want to have a perfect prime combo. So let's try another one. Okay, so we're going to start off small and we're going to keep going. The first 20, yep. Okay. So, square root of 12. As we take a look, 12 is not part of our perfect square roots. Okay? It's somewhere between 9 and 16. Right? So it's going to be like 3 point something if I ever want to put it as a decimal. So, the square root of 12 can be broken down. So when we break it down, we want to get into that perfect prime combination. Right? So we can do 4 and 3. Good. You got the square root of 4 and the square root of 3. Okay, this dot in the middle is meaning multiplication. Square root of 4, now that is a perfect square root, which gives us 2. Square root of 3 is prime. If you can't break it down, you bring it down. So right now our final answer is just going to be 2 square root of 3. Now I know for a fact there's someone out here like, well, Audrey, we can do 6 and 2. Okay. So if I'm going to try to squeeze that over here. If I had the square root of 12 and I decide to do the square root of 6, and the square root of 2. Now, 6 is not a perfect square root. So that means I need to break it down again. So that will give me square root of 3 times the square root of 2. And I'm going to bring down this square root of 2. But here's the best thing, and just in case those that don't know, right here, anytime you have the same and what's called radicand, so what's underneath that square root or that radical is called a radicand. So what is underneath the radicand, if they're exactly the same, think of it. I can multiply 2 times 2. And I would get the square root of 4. But the square root of 4 is equivalent to 2. So I have the square root of 3 right here, and I have this whole number of 2. Now this is the one thing about radicals. Your whole numbers should always be in front of the radical, because this is how the mind plays games on us. After you do math for a little bit, and if you do the square root of 3 and a 2 next to it, and maybe it looks something like this, your mind is going to think, oh, I didn't make my line long enough, and then now you're trying to break down the square root of 32. No. Okay? Always put the whole number in front of your radical. So you still get the same answer of 2 square root of 3. But you just have to do an extra step or steps in order to get to the final answer. But you will get there. Okay? You will get there. Alright? So it's just like an extra step. Alright? Now here's another shortcut. If you see exactly the same radicand with the same root, your answer is going to be what's underneath the radical without the square root. Notice here, we had square root of 2 times square root of 2, and we ended up with the 2 as an answer. So that works every single solitary time. If they're the same roots, okay, they're both square roots, and we have the same number underneath the square root, your answer is going to be the whole number without the radical. Okay. All right. So, little shortcut, little jobby. All right. So, let's try another one. Almost at 10. Okay, not too bad. Let's try this one. How about the square root of 50? What would I get with the square root of 50? Give it a try. Put it in the chat. Okay, if you're just watching, go ahead and tap. All right, weights is saying 5 root 2. Okay. Sakia is saying 5 square root of 2. I'm saying 25 and 2. You can still break down that square root of 25. 5 square root of 2, Danny. Good. Coach, hey. 5 square root of 2. Pog is saying root 25 root 2. So you can still break down that root 25. Okay. Okay, you still can break down that square root of 25. Okay. The D's, saying 5 root 2. Okay. All right, so we got our square root. I know a lot of people probably said 5 and 10. If you do 5 and 10, that means you need to break down the square root of 10 into 5 and 2. But why not save the trouble? Let's go for that perfect prime combination. Because the square root of 25, because 25 times 2, that gives me 50. So the square root of 25, that's perfect. So that will give us our 5. Square root of 2, that's a prime number. So if you can't break it down, you bring it down. No, it's the other way around. Okay. So Hamda, are you seeing where that is? Grim face, 5 root square root of 2. Good. How are you, Grim face? I haven't seen you in a minute. It's been a long time. All right. Questions on these? Questions on these? Can you do like x square root? Oh yeah, I'm gonna put variables in it in a second. Don't you worry, it's coming. All right. So let's try this one. This one gets me when my students used to do like forevers. Okay. All right. What's this one? Okay. So we got 10 root 2, 10 square root of 2. Hey, Laurel. Hey, Michael. 10 root 2. Oh, Michael, I mailed your book out again today. Okay. So you can say 50 and 2. Not 50 and 2, because 50 times 2 doesn't give me 200. 10 root 2, Danny. Okay, no problem. Thank you. There you go. All right, so you have a 100 and you have 2. Now break down the square root of 100. Okay, we got 5 root 2. All right, Ben's, gotta take a look at it. Not 5. Not 50. Okay, 10 root 2. Good. Hey, Bless. Your book, I like to take my GED. Okay. Sure, it's called the Ultimate Math Notebook. Okay. Sakai is saying 10 root 2. Okay. Here's the quick version, people. When it ends with 2 zeros, you should be pulling out 100. Okay? Anytime it ends with 2 zeros, you should be pulling out of 100. Because the square root of 100, that will give me 10. Because now you got a prime number. Okay? Now you got a prime number. So you have the square root of 2, that just needs comes on down. Okay? So now you're getting to your answer a lot quicker. Ultimate Math Notebook. What's my favorite topic in algebra? Synthetic division. There's probably others. The synthetic division is always my favorite. I don't know why. I enjoy that. What gives you 10? 10 times 10 gives me 100. Yep, that's it. Coach Sherry. Yep, I love synthetic, right? Yep, square root of 10 gives me 10. Okay. You never heard synthetic division? Oh. Well, what you could do, you can go here. I definitely did a video on it. And then type up this. Okay. Alright. So go there. All of my repeats of my lives, my replays are all there. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Oh yeah. It's a fun thing. Alright. So right now I'm trying to keep them relatively okay. But what could we do with I'm going to do 2 more like these. 2 more like these. Then we're going to have ourselves a nice little mat tab. All right. Well, thank you. Thanks. Okay, square root of 180. Let's think about this. Okay, let's think about this. Okay. Now, if you had your copy of the Ultimate Math Notebook, you will actually have a resource that will help you out with this. Okay, so with our Ultimate Math Notebook, we also have a factor sheet. So if you take a look with 180, maybe not this large. Okay, when it comes to 180, you have 1 and 180, you have 2 and 90, 3 and 60, 4 and 45, 5 and 36, 6 and 30, 9 and 20, 10 and 18, 12 and 15. But notice there's something in red. That something in red is that 5 and 36. This is what's called the perfect prime combination. So I know I got the square root of 36 is one of our perfect squares, square roots that we have here. So if I really wanted to, I can come right here and got my 5 and 36. So boom, I got my square root of 36 and my square root of 5. Square root of 36 will give me 6. Square root of 5, that's prime, so if I can't break it down, I bring it down. So it's 6 root 5. There you go. Okay. So there's 3 different covers. Right now, we got the hexagon for 1. And the other covers are over here. So this is the one I'm working with right now. So there's 3 different colors. One looks like a lava lamp. Other one is like green, white, and black. And then we have the hexagon one. Okay. You're welcome. All right. What are handy dandy tables? 6 through 9, that is the one that looks like a game in the front. So this is like actually 4 through 6. But if you have like some older kids that are taking like advanced algebra 1, yeah, they can use this one. Okay. That's quite a bit. Okay, so simplifying radicals. All right, so we were taking a look at those. Okay, so what happens when we have a variable associated with it? let's try this one. We have our square root of 45. Let's say n to the, let's say n to the second power. We'll start off slow, and then we'll do our progression. Okay. Oh, well, thank you, Omar. Appreciate this. I'm seeing a lot of Me Too's. Hold on. I'm sorry, I'm like sticking to like everything that I have right now. This heat is no joke. Okay. Well, during the test, that's what I'm saying. When it's time for you guys to take a test, you need to do a lot of prep before you take a test. So this is why I have like all these resources, because the more often that you visit all these resources that you have in the back of the book, eventually you're not going to need to look back here, because then you're going to be able to visualize. You're going to be able to remember the colors. You're going to be able to remember the order, because you constantly expose yourself to all these different type of sources. So it's like when it's time for you to take a test, you're not going to need this. But see, my thing is, you can't just say, because I'm starting to experience this now. I'm starting to see a lot of people that are like, yeah, I'm going to take my test in a couple of weeks. I'm going to take the ASVAB, or I'm going to take the GED in next month in 3 days. And then when I ask, what are you guys doing to, study? They're like, I'm coming to your lives. And I'm like, well, that's only part of it. There's so much more that you have to do in order to really solidify the work. That means knowing your multiplication facts. That means knowing and understanding the rules of integers. Those are key. Okay? I would love to say that, hey, you keep watching my lives and you're going to do really great on every assessment. I can't guarantee that. And I don't want to ever have that image in your heads. Okay? So it's going to take some work from you guys as well. All right. All right, thanks. Study for your practice. Yeah, sure. Okay. So where can you purchase them? You can go at the A word. But here's another thing. When you guys buy from the A word, I only make 50 cents per book. Whereas my self-publishing, I will make $6 per book. So I try to keep the cost relatively low so you guys can, reap the benefits. So that's why I just say this. All right. Are you using Khan Academy and ChatGPT to give me test? To give you test? What? Never study, you just wing it? Awesome. Highway robbery. Yep. Just order straight from you? Yes, you can. Because that is part of the link. I know. Welcome to my world. You can go to the link, but actually I can't say that. Just check out my profile. The first link of my profile, it's in there. Oh, okay. I was like, say what? Okay, yes. You can use Khan Academy, you can use ChatGPT, but here's the thing. Sometimes ChatGPT, can't even speak. GPT has errors in their stuff. So especially with exponents, I don't even know why it is, exponents and probabilities. So you have to be careful with that. And I'm not speaking of it like, oh, I'm a great teacher. Like, no, like there's times I'll use ChatGPT and I'm just like, yeah, I should have just done this by myself because this is so wrong. All right. Is this for the GED test? Yes, it's for GED, ASVAB, all of it. Okay? Now, this is what you need to do, especially if you like to break it down step by step. I like to give each term their own radical. So I got my 45, so I got a square root of 45, and I have my n squared. Okay. So when I do that, I need to focus on one thing at a time. That's just me. That's how I do things. So to break down the square root of 45, one, I have to know my multiplication facts. So the best way of doing with 45 is not necessarily 15 and 3, because I still have to break down that square root of 15 with 5 and 3. So you could do it that way, or you can do the perfect prime combination, which is 9 and 5. Because 9 times 5 will give me my 45. Square root of 9, that's a perfect square root. So that gives me a whole number of 3. The reason why it's perfect, because 3 times 3, 3 multiplied by itself, gives me this 9. Then that square root of 5 just comes on down, because 5 is a prime number. Okay, does it disappear on those? Since we're working with radicals, does I disappear? Sometimes they do not have I, especially for the GED. I mean, they might have it to an extent, but ASVAB, they do have the I's. Okay, so sometimes the I will appear. It depends on the test. Okay. Now, after we broke down the square root of 45, now we have the square root of n squared. When it's a square root, okay, how can I tell if it's a square root or if it's something else? Let me grab this. Okay, when it comes to radicals, you can have what's called an index. The index will tell you what type of root this is. So if there is a 3, this is a cube root. So that means you need to be thinking of, basically the inverse of a cube root will be x cubed. Okay? So the index will tell you what type of root this is. So if you don't see a number there, it's assumed to be a square root. So it's almost like, if you think of it this way, say you're, I don't want to say you're working in a factory, but here we are. So say that you have your own business and you have to put things into boxes. So your boxes can only hold 2 items in it. Okay, maybe it's one of those bath bombs type thing, and you can only hold 2 items per box. So this is basically saying that, all right, well, in order for me to ship out that box, I'm going to need for only 2 of the items to be plugged in, which you do. So if you have 2 of these ends and you want to fit it in a box, that means you only have n left. Now, if that's confusing, just think of it this way. You're taking this number 2 and you're dividing it by the index. If you don't see a number, this is a square. So this is the same as saying 2 divided by 2. 2 divided by 2 will give me 1, or just n. You can think of it that way. Okay. So only 1 pair. Okay, so if it's even, it works. If it's odd, that means you got 1 item that cannot be shipped out. So here we go. we're going to clean all this stuff up because this is basically saying 3 times the square root of 5 times n. So when we put it together, we have 3n square root of 5. Anything that's not associated with your square root comes in front of the square root. Okay. All right. So let me try another one. I'm going to keep it relatively simple as best I can. I know some people are like, nope, this is hard, I'm out. Well, there's no escaping this because it is on that test. So there's no way around it. So if I have, let's say, the square root of 18, v, and the v is underneath that radical. Okay, good night, Danny. Okay, it's not staying behind the n. It moves to the front. Okay. So this is like for GED, ASVAB, T's test, the algebra part of it. It's all being tested. ACT, SAT, all that shiznit. All right, first thing, split them up. Give them their own radical. If you can see it without splitting it up, good, congratulations. But if you're just like, yeah, this is all spanking new to me, split it up. Okay, so now you can focus your attention on the square root of 18. So, give me 2 numbers. Multiply together to give me 18. Preferably the perfect prime combo. Okay, Reed saying 9 and 2. I'm saying 9 and 2. Good. Yep, 9 and 2, 9 and 2. Awesome. So you guys are in my brain. Scary thought. So we have square root of 9 times the square root of 2. Square root of 9 gives me 3. Square root of 2 is prime, so we just break it on down. Okay. So now we're going to work with the square root of v. So, square root of v. V is to the first power. Okay, remember that whole bath bombs thing? The only way you can ship the boxes out is if you can get 2 per box. But this is an odd number. Okay, so since it's an odd number, and especially it's a 1, it cannot come out of your square root. Okay, because if I try to divide it, I'm going to have 1 over 2. That's not giving me a singular answer. It's just giving me a fraction for my exponent. So if I can't break it down, I'm going to bring it down. So now I'm going to focus right here. We're going to clean this up. Combine radical with radical and whole numbers with whole numbers. So this will give me 3 times the square root of 2v. Okay. All right. Poor guy. Well, hello, Dimples. How are you? Okay, good. All right. Let's try another one. Okay, let's keep it tapping. Let's tap it up. Let's see if we can get it to 40. Can we get that? There's 82 people in here. Hey, Angela. How much did you miss? A whole page. We're about halfway through. Okay. Oops. Everything keeps trying to blow away. Because I know you guys are really tired of me asking for Alright, so at least can get to like 34. There we go. I'm perfectly fine with that. It's been a long day. I'm just like, I don't want to keep doing that. Alright, so we have, now here's my thing. If you guys are writing down notes, put down your pencils and pens. Just put them down and just watch. Because I think when I'm hearing some of the questions, I have a feeling that some of you guys are writing, and while I'm talking, you're missing something. So, don't have a pencil or a pen in your hands. Just watch. Okay? Just observe. That's it. All right. Here we go. Oh, this is your other account. Okay. All these aliases. Janice, do we need to know something? Do we need a code? What's going on? All right, so we're giving everything their own radical. So just watch. Do not copy anything down. Just watch. All right. So now that I gave the 108 their own radical, the x their own radical, and the x cubed their own radical. So now I'm going to cover this up, and I'm going to focus on breaking down the square root of 108. So you're going to have to play around with some of your numbers to see. Okay, 108 can be divisible by what? So it's even, but I need a perfect prime combination. So, if I'm looking at 108, I know if I had my handy dandy notebook and I was practicing this, I will come to the beginning and I will look for 108. So here's 108. The factors for 108 is 1 and 108, 2 and 54, 3 and 36, 4 and 27, 6 and 18, and 9 and 12. So, after a while, you're going to know that 36 and 3 is the combination that you're looking for. So, I can break down, cover this up, 36 and 3. Okay. 36 is the perfect, which gives me 6. And the square root of 3 is prime, so that comes on down. Okay, so that takes care of the 108. Now, you can, as you've seen, you can use other combinations, but this gets you to your answer so much quicker. So now, I'm coming to the x. So, since my exponent is not more than 2 nor even, it's staying right where it is. So that means all I'm doing is bringing down that square root of x, because I can't break it down. It's almost like I got one bath bomb, but I can't put it in a box and ship it out because the customer is going to complain. I'm supposed to have 2 huge bath bombs and you just give me one. So in order for you to ship out the packages, you have to have 2 items. But in this case, that's not happening. But then over here, you have y to the 3rd. We could put this in a way that, remember when we did exponents? We could multiply my y's together. Okay? Or think of it this way. This is the way I like to do it. If I see an odd number, I'm always pulling one radical out. Okay? Anytime it's an odd number, make it even. Pull one of those square roots out. So then you're going to do one less. So now you got the square root of y squared. Squares and square roots are inverses of each other, so you got a y. And then you just bring down the square root of y. Okay? So now we need to clean all this stuff up. Anything that's not under a radical. Okay? So that will be my 6. That will be my y. We're going to gather them together. Anything that's under a radical, that will be my 3, my x, and this y. That's all going to be gathered under their own radical. Okay. You can circle them. Yes, you can. Good. We're going to bring it down. Good. Just watch her words. What's going on? Okay. Yes, exactly. Because there is going to be a lot of little things going on. All right, so let me scroll up. Okay, off the dome. Arlene. Okay. Okay, good. Yep. Just go to my profile. Just check it out in my profile. Okay. Okay, you're getting it? All right. Okay, so you left for a little. Okay. Yes, awesome. Okay, I still have more. So isn't it better when you just watch me for a second? Because sometimes people like get so distracted and like, oh, let me come back to it. Okay, what did she just say? Okay, you don't want to miss it. The blink of an eye. All right, not a problem. All right, so let's try another one. I think I have like a good 3, maybe 4 left in me. Okay, so we have 28 x squared y z to the 4th. Okay. Last one for you. Okay. Okay, so you're saying 7 and 4 read. Okay. Give everybody their own radical. So that's what Reed was saying, 7 and 4. Okay, Pog is saying 4xz squared. What's the R? Oh, that's supposed to be radical. Okay, radical 7y. Gotcha. Thanks for the follow, Shamika. Thanks for the follow, everyone else. I know there was a whole lot of people. I just missed a lot. Okay, kind of saying 2x z to the second with the square root of 7y. Okay. Okay, not sure about the z. Okay. Write down what you think you got. Okay, ready? Radicals 2. Hey, Leanne. Yay! Thank you, Michael. You're always working hard with that. I appreciate that. You and Jess. Almost everyone. But thank you. Alright, Coach is saying 2xz root 7 yz squared. Sorry, I had to do that puzzle piece thing. Alright, so let's take a gander at this. Okay, so starting with the square root of 28. So 4 and 7 works perfect because 4 is a perfect square root. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 7, that's prime. So if I can't break it down, I bring it down. So now I'm looking at my x, square root of x squared. Sorry, you should see, it's like a comic routine. It's a comedy routine over here. All right, here we go. So just looking at the square root of x squared. So squares and square roots are exactly the same. So if I think of it, it's really going to say I have my degree of 2 divided by my index because it's a square root. So that gives me x raised to the first power, or just x. Another simple way of doing it is that square and square roots cancel each other out. They're inverses of each other. So now we're looking at the square root of y. Square root of y cannot be broken down because you have it, my exponent is a 1. So this just comes down. Then we're coming to z to the 4th. So the square root of z to the 4th, this can be the same as saying 4 divided by the 2 representing my square root. So that will give me z squared. Okay? It's almost like it's half of the exponent. If it's even, just divide it by 2. Okay, so if I said z to the 8th, just divided by 2, that would just be z to the 4th. Okay. So now, let's clean all this stuff up. As you guys say, you kind of circle it. Okay, we got 2, we got a square root of 7, we have an x, we have a square root of y, and we have a z squared. So now, let's get anything that's not under a radical, gather them up first. So that would be my 2, that would be my x, and my z squared. And then all the stuff that is under a radical, put it under one radical, which is at square root of 7y. Okay. So if z was in the third power, not a problem. If we had z to the third, that means we're going to pull one of the z's out to make it even. Anytime it's an odd exponent, pull one of those variables out in its own radical and then make this even. Just minus 1 from it. So like if I had the square root of y to the 11th, well then, I pull one of those y's out, and then this will be y to the 10th. And then all I have to do is take half of the 10, which is 5, and then bring down my other radical. Okay. All right. Got it? Awesome. Okay, yep. So anytime it's an odd exponent, pull one of those variables out in their own radical and then make the original into an even, because then all you have to do is just divide that even one by 2 if it's a square root. Okay. All right. Well, this one. Okay. So this is Algebra 1, believe it or not. This is definitely Algebra 1. Okay. All right. All stitched. Let's step it up just a hair. Let's see what you guys can get. Okay, let's see what you guys can get. Your secondary 2 is a secondary 3 or 4 math. What would be considered secondary So you're thinking like junior? It's really like Algebra 1, like second semester. So if you're in the second, so weights is saying 8xy squared square root of 3x. Let's see. Okay. Jan's not sure. Okay. I'm saying 12xy squared root 3x. Okay. Michael is saying 8xy squared root 3x. Okay. Ernie, you alright? Okay. Oh, thanks, Michael. Take that back? Okay. Make the 12 and 8? Okay. I'm like, Ernie, you alright? No, I'm serious. Ernie, I want to hear if you're alright. So I don't play around with that. 2 years ago, I lost 3 former basketball players. Still a little perturbed by it. Not perturbed, but you know what I'm saying. So I'm always going to ask if you're alright. No, they were younger. 20s. One was 28, one was 30, one was 31. Yeah, my life is pretty screwed up, guys. I'm trying as hard as I possibly can to keep stuff together. Because it's hard for students, and I remember one year I had to go to 4 funerals in 1 month. It was it was like 2 summers ago. Yeah, it was a bad summer. Bad summer. And then 2 summers prior to that, my dad passed. So it was just like, forget it. Yeah, that's when everybody, it felt like almost everybody was on a contract. Everybody was on a contract. Yeah, I mean, as best I can, so. It's never easy. It's never easy. I know I'm not the only one that's going through it, but it's like when 1 minute they're in your classroom and then before you know it, they're not here anymore. And I don't know. One was, Yeah, there was one. There's 2 that really speaks to my heart every time. So that's why I always say, are you okay? Okay. Yeah. So this is why I do what I do. Like, I try to push, but at the same time, I understand, because the way that our kids are growing up is different from when we were growing up. Because I know, when we were younger, the older people or the old heads used to say, you kids nowadays don't know what hard work really means. And compared to how they were raised, it was different. And now, like, these kids are given so much pressure to go into a college just for them to get out of college and end up being waiters, waitresses, sitting on the couch, not knowing what to do, where to go. So, but yet we're forcing them into these streams. And we're thinking that they're getting a better life, and sometimes they're not. Sorry, I'm being attacked by a bug. Because I only got my ring light on, and they're just like, hey, let's attack this woman. Yep, tons of debt. So sometimes when I was in the classroom and kids would ask me, like, why should I go to college? And I'm like, you know what? What do you want to do? Like, I was one of those teachers that let's talk real stuff. Like, every Friday, it was Financial Friday. And that's all we did. We talk about stuff. We even talked about, like, how much it costs to raise a baby in the first year. You will be shocked what these kids think a baby costs. And they're the ones that are popping out kids left and right. Like, dude, are you kidding me? Ay. But then they're going to college and they're thinking they're going to the NBA. But now, hell, a lot of people don't want to go to the NBA for basketball. That's what I can relate to. Because you got some 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, because of NIL, they're making mad money. They're like, well, what do I need to go to the pros for if I'm making this money now as a high school student? And they're not thinking, or a college student, they're not thinking of what's going to happen after your 4 years. And that's the thing that scares me. And it scares me when some of these parents are like, you're my golden ticket. The only reason why you're around is so you can help pay my bills. And I know it's a sacrifice to have your kids be athletes and do extracurriculums and all that. And I get it. But at the same time, you also have to be there for your kid. And they're going to need you. And I've seen it so many times over and over again. And that's why one of my kids just decided just to not be anymore. And it kills me because the night before something told me to call him and I didn't. Oh, that's nice. Good. Yep. And there's still changes. There's still going to be more changes. So as I break down all this stuff, but I try to make it to the point that even if you do this just to exercise your mind, your kids are going to come to you, your nieces and nephews are going to come to you. At least you can say, you know what? I know how to break this down. Or I know where to go to get someone to help you break this down, So, but I don't want you to be fearful of math, because that's why we all hire all these people to do our taxes, because we're so freaked out about the math and no one wants to get audited. So you can do your own taxes. And plus, trust me, the way we do taxes here, it's mind-blowing. They do it to make it that you don't want to know. And there's so many different things. So yes, here we go. Yes, we will win. We will win. Not just me. We will win. We are going to win. All right. Now, 192. I know it's not an easy number. But last time that I checked, 192, since it's even and if I divide by 2, if I divide by 2, I'm going to get like a weird thing. I'm not going to get anything. But if I divide by 3, I'm going to get that 64. So 64 times 3, That gives me 192. Square root of 64 is perfect. So that gives me 8. And then I can bring down the square root of 3. Now if I slide over and I look at the square root of x to the third, I can factor out one of the x's and make the other one even. So square root of x squared, remember squared and square roots are opposites of each other, so that gives me x square root of x. Then I come over to the y, it's already even. So the square root of y to the fourth is the same as saying take half of the 4. So that gives me y squared. Okay, if it's a square root, just take half of your exponent. Makes life easy. So now, let's clean all this up. So as you guys said, let's circle what we got so we can't lose track. Anything that's not under a radical, we're going to put it up front. So that's my 8, that's my x, and my y squared. And everything that is under a radical, that's my 3, and that's my x. And I know this is difficult, but guess what, guys? If you can do this, this is easily, well, with this, it'll make it a 4-point question. But majority of the time with some of the square roots that you're going to need a little assistance with, definitely a 4-point question, hands down. Okay? I really want you to be able to get a lot of those 4-point questions. Okay? But most of the time, they won't give you something like this because you can't use a calculator. They'll give you like something like this. This will make it into a 3-point question. Okay? Yeah, you are going to get this. And here's the thing. It's not really a secret, but this is how it's going to happen. If you understand your multiplication tables, I'm telling you, the world is your oyster. Okay? If you understand your multiplication tables, you can manipulate, you can solve, you can simplify so much easier. Trust me. Okay? Trust me. You're going to get this. You're going to get it because you want to get it. All right? You're going to get this because you want to get it. Yes. All right. Oh, thank you, Coach. I just saw your message. Thank you. All right. So let's try. Oh, I think I did that one already. Let's try an oldie but goodie. Here we go. I want to try like 2 more, and then this one and another one, then we're done. Okay, would that work? As I just made myself a little sad. You know how you just miss people? All of a sudden. 2, 2, 1. Yes. Here you go. You can do something else, other than 6 and 2. Think of that perfect prime combination. Thanks, Coach. Okay. Pog is saying 2 xy with the radical 3z. Okay, Laurel's saying 2xy square root of 3z. 2xy square root of 3z with Kaya. Good, yes. 2 more problems. We'll get you to that. All right, well, thank you. Because I know it's hard. What grade math is this? It's basically late Algebra 1, Algebra 2. Okay. So 2xy root 3z. Okay. Nice. Okay, 2xy root 3z. All right, Cookie. 3z. All right, Cookie. All right. Okay. So, let's take a look. We have our square root of 12. We have our square root of x squared, square root of y squared, square root of z. Okay, taking it step by step. So square root of 12, we can use 4 and 3. Because the square root of 4 is perfect, which gives me a 2. And then we have our square root of 3. Looking at it, square root of x squared, squares and square roots are inverses of each other, or you can just take half of 2, which gives me simply x to the first power, or just x. So that comes from here. Then we have that square root of y squared. That gives me a y, because half of 2 is 1. But then the square root of z, it's to the first power, so that has to stay under the radical. So now, we'll circle what we can circle. And what's not underneath a radical, we're going to put down first. So that's my 2x, y. And what remains underneath a radical is my 3z. Yes, so z is going to remain as is. Good. Okay, you were close. That's all right. Good. You did it. Good. So it's just like taking it step by step. These are those type of questions that if you do rather, I don't want to say quickly, but if you understand and you know what you're looking for and you save some time off of those type of questions, you can apply it to some of these questions and just be able to break it down step by step. Okay, that'll work. We're doing good. All right, one more. One more time. All right. Let's see. There was one. Okay, we could do this one. that a try. Yep, we're almost there. We're at 95K. And this is the last problem for the night. I wonder if I can. Okay. No problem. So I'm getting 4n cubed m to the 4th, the square root of 7nm. Hey, we are simplifying square roots or simplifying radicals. Hey, no problem. Is it like Ray Ann? No problem. Okay. Well, I'm about to break down this one in a few. So if you want to hang out, you can hang out. More than willing to help. And then plus, if you do feel so inclined, all of my replays, just give me a few hours, unfortunately. Sometimes it takes a while for TikTok to convert. But you can go here to see my replays. All of my TikTok replays. And it's a free subscription. Okay? Yeah, I'm not bougie yet. Not yet. But it's coming. No, just kidding. Alright, so 4n cubed m to the 4th root 7nm. Busy tapping. Alright. How do you do that? Problems with getting the big numbers, square roots. Yes, that's true. No problem. Alright, so with our handy dandy, we're looking at 112. Okay, so we see how this can be effective. So with 112, we're looking at 1 and 112, 5 and 56, 4 and 28, 7 and 16, and 8 and 14. Now, I know during the GED and the ASVAB test, you cannot use a calculator, but you do need to get yourselves familiarized with certain numbers and certain terms if you can. So notice what's in red. That's going to be our perfect prime combination. So it's 16 and 7. Nope, that was from earlier. So if I break down the square root of 112, we want that perfect prime combination. So let me give everything their own radical first. So now the square root of 112, one of them is going to be 16. And the other one is going to be 7. Okay, Square root of 16, that's a perfect square root, which gives us 4. Now the square root of 7, that's prime. So if I can't break it down, I'm going to bring it down. Now, anytime you have an odd exponent, pull one of those variables out to make it into an even exponent. So now all we have to do is take half of the even, so half of 6 is 3, so that'll be n to the third, and then we bring down that square root of n. Alright, so if you missed it when I did it with the n's, let me show you what it looks like with the m's. We have m to the 9th, that's an odd number. So we want to factor out one of your m's to make this one into an even amount. Okay, so all you're doing is subtracting the 9 minus 1. That's where the 8 came from. So for me to break down the square root of m to the 8th, take half of the 8, which is m to the 4th. And then bring down your square root of m. So now we're going to take everything that was not under a radical. We're going to gather them together. So you got your 4 n to the third, m to the 4th, and then everything that stayed under a radical, gather them up. So that gives me my 7 n m. And that will be my final answer. Oh, yay! Oh, I missed that. Okay. Okay. Yep. So most factor books kind of goes up to 100. And since I wanted to, because I created my notebook, this is a notebook that I actually put together. I got sick and tired of my students just not knowing. And since we're dealing with, like, say, 7th to, high school students, there wasn't a book that's really designed for our older kids. Most of the books are for elementary. So the factor sheets that I've seen goes up to 100. So that's why I decided to make mine up to 200. And then other things like rules of integers. Oops, I don't know if it's going to happen or not. So rules of integers, also order of operations, okay, exponents, linear and quadratic equations, looking at the different types there. Did quite a few of that today. Properties of quadrilaterals. We have like anything dealing with circles, that means sectors, arc length. Then we have volume and surface area, perimeter, and circumference, as well as, anything dealing with trig. I think I'm going to be adding to it, but also the unit circle. Okay, so yes, you can get these lovely notes because this is what I do. I just break down concepts and I put it inside the notes. But if you want your own notebook, you can order it through me. But if you like just my notes, you can get your own copy of Audrey's notes. Okay? With Audrey's notes, let me see if I can get it angled. It's basically a color copy of all of my notes that I've done while here on TikTok. I have books 1, 2, and 3. So book 4 will probably come out next week. But the one thing I like about Audrey's notes is at the bottom, there's a QR code. And the QR code will take you to the live that is dealing with the topic of that page. So like if I wanted to do dividing polynomial, hey, we were just talking about that. Here's going through the long division. And then also we have like our slant heights and all that stuff. If you scan this QR code, it will take you directly to the live that I did talking about dividing polynomials and the date, which is 5/9 of this year. So if you want copies of that, that's also in my bookstore. It's like, Cliff Notes, but my name's not Cliff. Yeah. So all you have to do is just go to my profile. You'll find my website link. That's all I can say. Yes. No, right? Very interesting. Professional math for ASVAB. Yeah. So like if you already have, like I have a course that is helping some people with their ASVAB, just working on the refreshers and all that. That's also in there. If you guys need a math tutor, these are the things that I do. So I do private tutoring. I have all my math notebooks. We do have a self-paced course, but I have one that you can actually get tutoring, like 30 minutes of tutoring out of it. So you get videos, practice sheets, and quizzes. All you have to do is just take a look at my profile and you'll actually see that. Now, the other thing I want to introduce is there are some other people that also could help you depending on what you're doing. We have a blessed RN if you're thinking about doing dosage calculations. If you also need another person to hear, because sometimes we need other people to basically say the same things. We have Miss Evelyn Taylor. She does the T's, the ASVAB, and the GED, and she goes live. Her free versions are around 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but 1 p.m. Central. If you're looking for a chemistry tutor, you got Professor TK. She's great. Learning with Lynette will teach you how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide using the abacus. If you have any pre-K or kindergarten kiddos that you're thinking about homeschooling and you need help with curriculum, you can follow my friend Nancy. She's the online elementary tutor, as well as my friend Robert. I think he's still here. But he was doing AP statistics, even statistics for nursing, AB calculus and BC calculus. So just follow him, Robert, the AP math guy. And if you have like kids that need help with reading or with math from K through 8 or K through 5, you can follow my friend Bridget, who is Read Math Grow, and she does elementary and middle school kids. So definitely follow. Okay, but again, give me a moment so I can upload this, and then you guys can have your copies of all those things. And don't subscribe. It's a free subscription. As I said, I'm not bougie yet. So let's see what we can get done. All right. Okay. Ooh, almost halfway to having enough followers. No, that'd be awesome. Yes, so please go ahead and follow Robert, because I really want you guys to experience, upper level math and not be fearful. He's really good at breaking down concepts step by step. Okay, definitely. Okay. Yeah, I do. And like I said, I try to know good quality people, because when I watch people's lives and I feel like, oh, I like this person, I would reach out to them and say, hey, can we have like a quick meet and greet? Because I really want to know your personality before I put you on any kind of list. That's just me. All right. Thank you, Michael. And thank you, Michael, for all the taps and encouragement. Same thing, Jess. Same thing, Janice. All of you guys. You're just amazing. Okay. Yeah, he really is. He really is. So, trust me. All right. No problem. Okay. that's smart to do. I know. Like, people used to do follow for follow, and I know a lot of people don't like to do that, but I still do. I just feel like, when we go on each other's lives, we always hype each other up. And I think that's just pretty cool. Because we can't do this thing called life by ourselves, guys. And especially as business owners, you can't do it by yourself. Now, I'm not saying that, people have to ride on someone else's coattail. Like, don't be a leech. That's just crazy. But if it's more so like, you want to support and share, and especially it's good for you guys because you probably didn't know that, Robert's really good at what he does. You don't know that Bridget's really good at what she does, and Miss Taylor and so forth, because there's so many different new people coming on this platform. All right. Yeah, she's really good. I like her. Okay, good. Good. All right. All right. So, I'm going to wrap up. You guys have been tapping for forever. Okay, so she's live on tonight. Okay, look at her going live at night. Yeah, Miss Taylor. Yes. Was it her subscription? Janice? Was it her subscription one or... All right. Well, thank you. I will try to keep up the good work. Okay, live for subscribers? Yes. Okay. Yeah. I feel like I need to get my numbers up before I start doing that. That's just my feeling. I'm just trying to let me get with a routine. Because I love seeing that. I love seeing people that are just hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And they're like, yeah, I got 80 people. And I'm like, girl, you have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Why you only have 80? That doesn't make any sense to me. But, I gotta let that go. All right. It'll happen. It'll happen. It will happen in this lifetime. Whatever that thing is, which is, helping as many people as I can and spreading the word. It's happening now. So, all right. Aw, thanks. You like my craziness, girl. Yes, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. You want to have as many, because maybe one thing that I'm doing, it might be something else that she's doing and vice versa. Or sometimes it might just, overlap. And having more exposure can't hurt. It really can't hurt. When I remember you when you're famous? Yeah. Duh. Michael, you're unforgettable. Who else? Every time I'm going to see one more, I'm always going to think Michael R. Every single solitary time. Remember the little people? Oh, just stop it. If I get a private jet, I'd probably go and visit everybody. Wouldn't that be awesome? I'm like, hey, let's all just go somewhere nice and have dinner. And just, shoot the stuff. That would be fun. And it's funny because everyone wants to be famous, but then, this is what's hilarious. When they do become famous, they're bored to tears and they end up doing stupid stuff with their money. So I'm like, do I really want to be famous? I just want my bills to be paid and feel comfortable. That's all I want. To be honest with you, I don't want to have a stockade just for me to go to a corner store somewhere. I just want to go to a corner store and just be done with it. Right? Hey! Ooh, you're in Miami, Jess? Miami? You know what? I don't think no, I did when I was younger. So I don't really remember it that much. It's probably completely different. Ooh, sorry. What are you going to be live tomorrow? Okay, so tomorrow is what? Tomorrow is Tuesday. So I go live at 1. And my Tuesday is cray-cray. Yeah, it is cray-cray. And I gotta yell at a kid tonight because he was supposed to give me stuff to work on. But anyway, yeah, so I'm at 1 o'clock tomorrow. And I think what I said, I'm going to be doing interval notation. So we're basically going to be graphing with a number line, but I'm going to show you how to put it in what's called interval notation since we were working on inequalities. I'm going to see if I can come on Tuesday night. I'm not 100% sure, but I will try. Okay. There's something new popping up. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's always something new popping up, especially you guys down there. Whew, for education, definitely. I have quite a few kids in Florida. 2 outside of Miami. I forgot which beach that is. So I do have some kids for tutoring. And some of them screwed me up. They're the ones that have the exemption thing. They're like, oh, I can be exempt from my exam because I got an A for the class. Ugh. No, it's not West Palm Beach. I will remember that. It's another one. Yeah, it's not West Palm Beach. I don't know. Probably when I see it, that's when I'll see it. All right, I'm not going to hold you guys up because now I'm starting to get a little weird and fading. Always quick to get out things. Yeah. Oh, and some of these teachers down there, yo, what? One was a little too handsy, and I literally was like, I'm ready to take a flight. Like, I'm ready to take a flight. And the mother was like, no, it's okay. We're gonna handle it. I'm like, look, he was doing a little inappropriate stuff. That's crossing that line. If I got to take a flight, I will take a flight. Like, that's how crazy my behind is, okay? If anyone messes with anyone, I got that mama bear syndrome, like, big time. Anyone messes with any of my students, I don't care. It's either going to be, I'm going to give you an email the first time, and if you ignore it and it keeps going, I just have to take a flight or a car ride. That's all it is. It's all it is. So, yeah, I want to know. You're a teacher? Yeah. Oh, yeah. When I was in the classroom, I'm surprised I didn't get fired. Because there was a couple times, like, when kids this is when cell phones were just starting to come out. And I was on the second floor, but there's like a whole lot of grass underneath my window. And I would open my window and throw their cell phones out and just keep talking. Yeah, badass like that. My principal was like, what? I'm like, girl, I've been here for 9 years. You didn't hear that I've been doing that? She's like, no. I'm like, yeah. But I give them warnings, and they think I'm, just making it up. And I'm like, no, I'm going to literally not snatch it out of your hands because that's rude. I'm just going to gently take it out of your hands, open the window, throw it out, and just keep talking. If you want to go and pick it up afterwards, go ahead. You can go and pick it up. But that's how it's going. She's like, oh. Yeah, nowadays you have to. Like, these kids are coming up like vipers, man. They're like coming born with an attitude. I'm like, why are you so angry? It's 7 o'clock p.m. Why are you so angry? Someone stepped on my foot. Really? Have you not met this school? It's craziness. Yeah. To the point that I used to work at baby bookings, we call it. It's the juvenile justice system. I worked there for 13 months. And I had like public enemy number 1 who broke into a person's house, did unmentionable things, and he's passing out papers in my classroom. Like, it's just like nothing. I'm like, dude, you murdered how many people? And you're, oh my God. And you're the rightful age of what? 17? Oh, okay. All right. You want me to pass the papers out? Yes. Sure. That everything, I learned that everything was a weapon. And the way, I don't know if they were just cunning or they just respected me. Because once you got to the top dog, everything is perfectly fine. Yeah, they're definitely something else. And some of them, they're like, yeah, one guy killed a homeless man for $10. The hell? And he's asking for a coloring page. A SpongeBob coloring page. Like, seriously, did you... When I heard that's all he did to get in there, I was like, wait. He's like, Miss Codner Gibson. I was married then. He was like, can I have a SpongeBob coloring page? Sure, babe, I'll put a son. And then later on, I found out what this boy did. He over here asking, Sponge... I can't. I just can't. And when the parents come to visit, I'm one of those teachers. I'll be like, look, your son is amazing. I would speak like positivity. And these people looked at me like I was damn crazy. And I'm like, I don't know what you guys see, but this is what I see. And I know he's in here, but he's trying to make himself better. And some people appreciated it, and some people just looked at me like I was damn crazy. But I did it anyway. I don't care. I try to speak positivity, no matter what. I'm tapping away. Wait, why am I waiting? Wait, what? My first class is volunteer, but I can't. Oh, I know. Because then you see other people's kids, and you're just like, you just want to yoke them up like you would normally, like your kids. But you can't do that. The last time you had to volunteer, maybe that's what you want to do. I don't know, but no, that's how you get arrested nowadays. You're not trying to do all that. Are you trying to go from 125? Do my summer kids? No, they don't. Why? They want to hear the sounds. I know, no home training. But see, that's what happens. That's what happens. I'm lucky right now with all the kids that I'm tutoring, and I have some that are coming from, 2 jobs, type of person that want to work hard, middle class people. I don't have too many like uppity rich people or anything like that. I have people that work hard and they just want the best for their kids. And I'm lucky. Like, I am so lucky. Like, when I get kids, sometimes when they're brand spanking new, they're coming to me hysterical crying or like, I don't know what I'm doing. And they just want to give up. And just by being patient and later on come to find out that sometimes their teachers are the ones that are saying, you will never get this. I don't know why you're trying type of thing. And again, that's one of my parents in Alaska. And I was like, it's a plane ride. Like, it's a plane ride. Like, I'll bring my girls with me if we got to. We'll just overrun Alaska if that's what I got to do. But then to see this young woman make the huge transformation and her grades are showing it, and to see her so proud of herself. And the same with some of my other kids. I just love it. Like, that's the reason why I continue to stay in education. Like, yes, I could easily be a classroom consultant. That's what I wanted to do, to help other teachers. But sometimes teachers want the help. Sometimes they don't want the help. They want to figure it out for themselves. And I don't blame you. Take it your own route. But that's why I like tutoring. I like teaching. I like educating. I like sharing my stories. Just for people to give that chance. But sometimes it's like the passion gets sucked out of them, Jess. to be honest with you. It's like some teachers, they really want to teach and they really want to grow and they want their kids to grow, but the hand that they're dealt with unless they're willing to take their paycheck. And I will never forget, one year I spent almost $5,000 for school supplies for a whole entire year because I worked at a facility that we had to pay for our own paper, our own copy paper, and the books were terrible. So I said, screw it, I'll just keep going and buying boxes of paper and buying supplies and rulers and pencils and pens and markers and color pencils and compasses. Well, not compasses, the safety compasses. I had to, because we can't use the old compass with the little stab. No, we can't do that. But it just seemed like every time I turned around, not only that, deodorant, lotion, oh my God. And this is when Walmart used to have the big bottles of hand sanitizer. This was before the pandemic. And I remember someone stole it out of my room. I was highly upset. And my kids all of a sudden came. One kid, he was like, I'll be back. Where are you going? What, you with the Terminator? What are you doing? He leaves. He's like, I'm just going to go to the bathroom. No, you're not. He was like, I'll be back. Okay. Next thing you know, he came back with my hand sanitizer. I was like, I don't want to know what you did, but is the office going to call? He's like, maybe they do, maybe they don't. I'm like, oh my God. Boo-boo, sit down. Cracking me up. Big old teddy bear. Talking about I'll be back. Damn Terminator. But they come up, and I taught high school. So, I don't know how anybody can do with the middle school. God bless you. Couldn't be me. But I taught high school. I had couldn't be me. But I taught high school. I had juniors and seniors. I could not do freshmen. Freshman is just like middle school, because they're trying to make that transition from being the top dog in 8th grade to learning the ropes as a freshman. Yeah, that transitional year is just not my forte. I can do the math. I can teach the math. It's just the kids. And sometimes 5th grade boys. I don't know what it is about 5th grade boys. Doing teaching or tutoring online just doesn't work for them. It really doesn't. In person, because we can do activities and all kinds of stuff, that'll work. But online, it's a struggle. The struggle is real. Yep. You taught both? Woo! I used to teach it during the summer. I used to teach, not even local. I was in a different county, and it was all right. It was kind of cool, especially when the buses were late, and no matter what, the kids had to leave by 12 o'clock. So it was like a 3-hour type, let's get you ready for math or for English type thing. So it was all right. It was pretty cool. But yeah, there was a couple kids that last year I was like, yo, I know you're struggling because you can't multiply. And I know it is, but you're going to have to put some effort into it. So, but hey, you. Yep. Oh, yes. The stories of Audrey Codner. I don't know if I can put it into a book. That stuff is just crazy. That's just insane. The things that teachers do. Everyone thinks it's just the classroom. No. You have to be a chaperone for damn near everything. Every time. Talent shows and plays and afternoon matinees on a Saturday, and all of a sudden you got this bazaar and this field trip and this fundraiser, and it's too much. And then they're like, well, why are our grades so bad? Because there's 1 week everybody had a field trip. Spread that stuff out. Right? It's not. It's really not. It's really not. And then you get this one parent every teacher is afraid of except for you, because you're just like, all she wants to know is how her child is doing. You guys are over here, so many teachers that used to break out in hives. This one particular, oh my God. She used to break out in hives every time there was a parent-teacher conference. I'm like, why are you teaching? If you're afraid to talk to a parent, another human being, all they want to know is how their child is doing and what they can do to support you. And you're over here breaking out in hives, acting crazy. Ugh. That's the stuff I had to do. All right, enough of this. Stop with all the tapping. All right, we're going to be done. Thank you so much for letting me vent. I will see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. for more fun and shenanigans. And possibly learning more about the other facets of Audrey. All right, have a good one. Thank you so much for everything. I greatly appreciate you guys. Have a good night now. Bye now.